Alyssa Milano was in the news very recently. She said she returned her Tesla because Elon Musk is a very, very bad person. But it turns out that she's a moron and forgot that in her very own Twitter history, she has many, many tweets about how Elon Musk is a genius and he's saving the world and blah, blah, blah. And on top of this, she said she's switching to Volkswagen, and she was totally ratioed when people said, well, Volkswagen was started by Nazis. And so you're going from Elon Musk, who you say is a bad guy, to a company that was founded by Nazis. And of course, there is a fair rebuttal to that, which is that, well, it's not currently run by Nazis. So is that a fair assessment of Volkswagen, the company? Okay, fair enough. But what I would say is you don't even have to go back to their inception to show that maybe Volkswagen isn't as clean a company as Tesla. You just go back to 2016 when Volkswagen was sued by the Department of Justice for lying about, their cars' emissions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were lying about emissions. In other words, they were making the environment dirtier than they claim to have been making it. That's the company you run to. You only do this if you're a moron, if you're an absolute idiot. You didn't even have to say you were going to Volkswagen. You could have just said you're returning your Tesla, even though I have no idea what returning your Tesla even means. What do you mean by that? Are you giving it back to Elon and he's giving you a full refund? You're not getting a refund. Are you selling it on the secondary market? What does that mean? You're selling it on the secondary market? The Tesla still exists, right? And you got money for it. So it's not like your hands are clean unless you gave it away to some person, totally free of charge. I bet you didn't do that. So you still have the money, the dirty money from the dirty man who makes Teslas, right? But again, this is the beauty of Twitter. This is the beauty of free speech. There was a time, before the internet, where a person like Alyssa Milano would just be a movie star, and people would, due to halo effect, tend to think good things about her. But now she has access to the internet and the ability to put her really dumb thoughts out there, and we have the ability to judge her on it, to judge her accurately. And you didn't have that ability before technology and on a free speech platform like Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would just assume that, oh, she's probably a pretty good person. She's probably reasonably intelligent. No, she's not.
She also thinks that world hunger could be solved for $44 billion.
Yeah, she's almost like the copy pasta that people keep on putting under Elon Musk's tweets. The ones where they're like, Elon Musk could give everybody on Earth $4 billion. Those idiotic things. I mean, they're meant to be idiotic, obviously, but she's not far from that copy pasta, right? She's not. I mean, in fairness to her, though, there was a guy at the UN, right, who said that Elon could have solved world hunger for a measly $6 billion. A measly $6 billion. Do you know how much the U.S. government spends on aid to countries for the purpose of, feeding people and preventing famines and, just humanitarian aid? Do you know how much humanitarian aid we spend every single year? I don't, but I know it's a hell of a lot more than $6 billion.
It's actually about what Elon paid for Twitter. It's about $44 billion.
Yeah. So if the U.S. alone has spent that every single year, is it not fair for me to ask why world hunger is not over? So probably the world spends, I'm going to guess, $60 billion on humanitarian aid every single year. Why is it not over? It only took 6, apparently, based on one guy at the UN. $6 billion is really not a lot of money. And yet, and yet it could have been solved, You don't think that Elon would have just paid it if it actually could have solved it? You don't think that Bill Gates would have just paid it at some point? Right? I think he would have. I mean, I know people think a lot of negative things about Bill Gates, but I'm sure his ego would have loved to be the guy who solved world hunger. So he would have just paid that $6 billion.
This maybe explains why some people can be very happy. I mean, it reminds me of ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.